What up, what up, what up, everybody? Ben Thomas here for episode 5 of Full Gongshow. We're getting this thing moving, man. First off, I'd like to apologize again. I know I did it last episode. I'm pushing it back a day to Monday. I just got home for spring break. Back home in my hometown. I'm in my bedroom. And I just was really tired on Sunday. So I said, you know what? I'm going to push it to Monday and everything like that. There will also be no full week article this week. I might do one next week, but I'm going to be in Miami for most of the week, and I'll talk about that at the end of the show. But we will see. But for now, no full article this week. And then today's show, we're going to run through just like it's normal Sunday. I know it's Monday, but we're going to run through it like it's Sunday. We're going to talk about Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're going to talk about one game on Sunday. Only one, because it was a big one. We're going to talk about one, and then we're going to save the rest of Sunday's slate for Wednesday's pod. All right? Cool. Let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. Starting with Thursday night. All right? We had a full slate of action. Thursday, March 10th. We had the Bruins taking down Chicago 4-3, literally with 17 seconds left. David Pastrnak wins it for the Bruins. Heartbreaker. Then we got Arizona winning 5-4 in overtime. Ottawa defeating Seattle 4-3 in overtime. Florida taking down Philly 6-3. Winnipeg taking down New Jersey 2-1. The Islanders defeating the Blue Jackets 6-0. And then the Blues taking down the Rangers 6-2. Nashville taking down Anaheim 4-1. Calgary winning 4-1 over Tampa Bay, and San Jose pulling off an upset in overtime 4-3 over the LA Kings. Now there were 3 games I did not mention, and I'm going to talk about those said 3 games. Starting off with the Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo won over the Vegas Golden Knights by a score of 3-1. And it was Craig Anderson's 300th win. Now, I got to meet Craig Anderson in person. He's a local guy from Chicago. Super nice guy. I've always rooted for him. It's really happy to see him get his 300th win. He's been through a lot, not just with himself, but with his wife as well, his family. So I'm happy to see him win. But the big reason for this is it was Jack Eichel's return to Buffalo, and they spoiled it for him. They spoiled the return for Jack. He was traded from Buffalo to Vegas on November 4th. The former Sabres captain only had 2 shots on goal, but he had a great soundbite after the game. It was just awesome. I'm trying to see if they have it in this article. I doubt they will. But basically they asked him, how was it with everybody there? Lots of cheering, lots of booing. What was it like? And he said, well, that's the loudest I've ever heard that stadium, ever. And it took them 7 years and me getting traded for them to show up, basically, is what he said, paraphrasing it. Which, that's one hell of a soundbite, if you ask me. That dude, you can tell, is pretty upset with the organization, how they handled everything, especially with his surgeries and stuff. But, yeah, that's some sort of soundbite. But Peyton Krebs and Alex Tuck, who were in that deal for Jack Eichel, both scored for the Sabres. And the Sabres been hot as of late, winning 3 of their past 5 games up to that Thursday point. So it was cool to see. But the Vegas Golden Knights lost their second straight game. They're 4-7-1 in the last 12. Definitely on a bad stretch here. They might be out of a playoff spot at this point. But I got faith in Vegas. I think they will make it. They just got to get healthy. Getting Eichel, they're going to get Pacioretty back, all these guys. So I think they're going to be just fine. But nevertheless, big-time win for the Sabres, spoiling Eichel's return. And Eichel, like I mentioned, with that amazing soundbite. I loved it. So I bet a lot of people did too. Moving on to the next game on Thursday that we're going to talk about. Battle of the 2 top teams, the Colorado Avalanche out west and the Carolina Hurricanes out east. And Carolina got the best of the Avalanche for their 3rd straight win as they shut them out 2-0. Antti Ranta, not even Frederik Andersen, Antti Ranta made 36 saves for the Hurricanes to become the first team to shut out the Colorado Avalanche this season. That's actually some sort of record. I would give Carolina some credit for that. but also give Colorado for that. They have not been shut out at all this season until that game Thursday night. Ethan Bear broke the scoring, made it 1-0 in the third period, and then Aho scored an empty netter with just under a minute and a half left. So basically, it was a 0-0 game. Just a back-and-forth action. And honestly, this could have been a Stanley Cup preview. The Hurricanes and the Avalanche are both top teams in their respective conferences. And honestly, I would love to see this be a Stanley Cup final. I think these are two top-notch teams with a bunch of depth, ton of speed, a ton of young guys, solid goaltending, great defensive schemes, awesome coaching, Jared Bednar and Rod Brindamore. Like, all in all, it would be a heck of a series. And I really would love to see that be a Stanley Cup Finals. And if it's a 2-0 game with it being 0-0 until like late in the third, hell, I'll take that. That's a really, really good matchup. Two very even teams. I'd like to see the next game of this and see if Colorado gets their revenge. But nevertheless, Antti Ranta, props to him for that. Props to him for that big-time shutout, making 36 saves against a lethal Avalanche lineup. So props to him for that. Moving on to our last game from Thursday. Minnesota took down Detroit 6-5 in a shootout. Detroit tied it late, but they lost their fourth in a row. Young stud Matt Boldy scoring twice for the Minnesota Wild. This kid is going to be good. He's another one of those young studs that Minnesota has. He was a college guy, played college hockey in the United States. I want to say for either BU or BC or Minnesota, one of those three. I could also be totally wrong. But he is just an absolute stud. He joined the team a little bit earlier this year. He's only played in 27 games, and he has 24 points in those 27 games. He's getting great ice time. He's getting a lot of minutes. He's been on the power play. He has 8 power play points. So this year, I mean, this kid has a very bright future. Joel Eriksson Ek, Zuccarello, and Kirill Kaprizov scored for the Wild as well. The Wild are in a playoff spot. They're looking real good. They got a lot of depth. If Cam Talbot can continue to lock down the door and net, they got goaltending, but I don't know. He can be a little shaky. But nevertheless, this Minnesota team is very, very good. Now, they did trail 4-2 in the game. They came back, tied it up, and ended up winning in a shootout. But Detroit, man, they have been dropping like flies. I'm going to talk about them a little later in this pod as well because they got the absolute beat out of them by Calgary. And I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. But they have just been plummeting as of late. Like, this team cannot catch a break, cannot get a little hot streak going, nothing. They have just been dropping, and it is just not awesome to see because Detroit was actually looking really good this year as an exciting young team competing for a playoff spot, but they just really have not been able to get it done. So moving on to Friday now. We're only going to talk about one game on Friday. There were only 4 games. Pittsburgh took down Vegas 5-2. Columbus defeated Minnesota 3-2 in a shootout. Islanders defeated Winnipeg 5-2. And then finally, the game we're going to talk about is the Capitals taking down the Canucks 4-3 in overtime. They win it at 42 seconds into overtime, and Yevgeny Kuznetsov has got a hat trick that night. Lars Ellers was the OT winner. But the big storyline from this game was Alexander Ovechkin had an assist. He did not score, so he remains tied with Jaromir Jagr with 766 goals for third place in NHL history. Obviously, he's chasing after not Gordie Howe. He is chasing after Gordie Howe, but also Wayne Gretzky. And I think he'll do it. I really think he could do it. It'll be a few years and a lot of goals, but Ovechkin, if anybody can do it, it's Alexander Ovechkin. He's already tied for third. So he did not get that goal. But the Capitals did get the win. Kuznetsov with a hat trick, his second NHL hat trick. He tied it up 3-3 with his hat trick goal. Vitek Vanacek made 23 saves. John Carlson added 2 helpers as well. And then for the Canucks, Bo Horvat scored twice, Captain Bo. Quinn Hughes, a great young defenseman, had a goal and 2 assists. And Thatcher Demko made 30 saves, who the Canucks lost for the first time in their last 4 games. They're kind of a weird bubble team to keep an eye out for. For JT Miller had 2 assists, extending his point streak to 11 games. That could be a trade chip for the Canucks. But nevertheless, they dropped it. The Capitals got a big-time win. And Ovechkin is still chasing after Wayne Gretzky. But you did get a point. You did get 1 point. But that's up with the hat trick was the big-time story from there. Sorry, I keep yawning. I don't know what it is with me doing these pods. I just keep yawning. I don't know what it is. So, all right, moving on to Saturday. Talk about 4 games from Saturday. We got Carolina defeating Philly 3-1, Boston taking down Arizona 3-2, Seattle taking down Montreal 4-3, New Jersey taking down Anaheim 2-1 in a shootout. San Jose beating Los Angeles again, 5-0 this time. And Edmonton defeating Tampa Bay 4-1 to get their self back on track. But the main games I want to talk about, just talked about Detroit. But Jacob Markstrom gets his 9th shutout in the win against the Wings. He only made 19 saves. And the reason why I talked about this, even though Elias Lindholm got his 30th goal of the season and the Flames are 6-1-1 in their past 8, they were getting outshot. The Detroit Red Wings were getting outshot into the second period 31-5. 31-5. And that was like Calgary outshot Detroit 19-1 in the first period and 31-5 through 2 periods. So the Detroit Red Wings headed into the third period with 6 shots on goal. That is unbelievably horrendous. Holy crap. It is so bad. And that's just that. Like, that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Detroit just cannot catch a break right now. They have just been plummeting, and it is just obviously being shown. If you are getting outshot 31-6 through 2 periods, that is something really messed up. All right, I mean that is horrendous. That is just god awful. 31-5 through 2 periods. I mean, excuse me, but Thomas Greisch made 40 saves, trying to do whatever he can, but they've lost 5 straight. They're 1-6-1 in their past 8. They're getting outscored 44-23 during that stretch. It's just unbelievably horrendous. But Calgary on the other end, that's all I gotta say on Detroit. I'm just throwing stats at you. I think you can understand how bad they are. But heading to Calgary, I mean, they're 6-1-1 in their past 8, completely opposite. Elias Lindholm and Tyler Toffoli each got a power play goal. But yeah, really nothing to say about Calgary. I mean, they're just a really good team. They're at the tops of the Pacific. They're just rolling, and I think they're just going to keep rolling into the playoffs here. And then we'll see what happens in the playoffs. I don't have them going very far, Calgary, but because I got teams like Colorado and other teams like that. But nevertheless, still a very, very scary and good team. So heading to our next game from Saturday, Chicago Blackhawks took down Ottawa 6-3. And Patrick Kane had 3 assists. He was just named the NHL's first star of the week after a 10-point outing in 3 games. I mean, Patrick Kane's Patrick Kane. But he did become the 2nd all-time leading scorer in Blackhawks history, passing the great Bobby Hull. And now he is just behind Stan Mikita, who had 1,467 points, and Kane's at 1,156. So he's got a ways to go, but if anybody can do it, it's Patrick Kane. Jonathan Toews and Seth Jones' brother, Caleb Jones, each scored twice. Fleury made 20 saves for the Hawks. Anton Forsberg, a former Blackhawk, was in goal for the Senators. He made 22 saves. It was just it was an awesome effort for the Hawks, who started off really slow. But then defenseman Connor Murphy was taken off on a stretcher due to a boarding call by Parker Kelly, who got 5 in a game. And the Hawks, just right after that, they came alive. They came out after that first period when that boarding happened and just absolutely just put the pedal to the metal. Taser got one and then got a second one, and then it just kept going. Caleb Jones got one, then Sam Lafferty got one. Dylan Strome scored again. So it was one of those things where you got to play for your teammate there, and the Hawks did exactly that. And they've been playing well as of late, heading to this trade deadline. Once you got your GM named, it seemed like they just got a total flip of the switch. But Coach King has figured out the lines a little bit, figured out what pieces work well together, and it's been clicking right now. So exciting to see, especially as a Hawks fan. But nevertheless, Patrick Kane, though. Patrick Kane is being Patrick Kane. He looks like he's back. After a little bit of a down stretch, he looks like he's on his way back here. So very good to see with that win on Saturday, as they have another game coming up on Tuesday. Now, another game is the Central Division rivals of the Hawks, St. Louis and Nashville playing each other. St. Louis wins this one 7-4. Robert Thomas scored 4 points for the Blues. This kid has been lighting it up this entire year alongside his line mate Jordan Kyrou. Two young, absolute dynamic studs for the St. Louis Blues team, who these guys are going to get locked up by this Blues team. No problem about that. They are, they're top scorers on the power play, top 6 guys that can just do it all. If they want to go out there and hit some guys, they will. They got great puck awareness, can move the puck, have blistering shots. So these guys are definitely the future for the Blues. Thomas had 2 goals and 2 assists. He now has 4 goals in his past 2 games. Jordan Kyrou had 3 assists for the Blues. And Ville Husso, he's been a stud. You got Jordan Binnington, but Ville Husso has also been doing the dirty work for the St. Louis Blues. He made 31 saves. David Perron scored twice. Brendan Saad got one as well. So just a good battle between 2 Central Division teams. Both teams are in the playoff hunt. So the 2 points were obviously crucial, and the Blues came away with it. But these two will face off again, definitely, and it's going to be super fun to watch. Matt Duchene scored twice for Nashville, kind of in a little bit of a revival year for him. But UC Saros made 28 saves for Nashville. They were trailing 3-0 in the first. When you're down 3-0 in the first against a team like St. Louis Blues, it's kind of tough to come back from. So maybe not Nashville's best effort, so to speak, but nevertheless, they did show a lot of resiliency. Being down 3-0, coming back, making it a game. And then that was just after that. They tied it 3-3, but then the Blues just took a lead. Then they tied it again 4-4, and then the Blues just kept going. So they showed that resiliency, but wasn't all the way there. I bet they would have liked to have a better start than being down 3-0. But moving to our final game from Saturday, team I don't talk about a whole lot. New York Rangers. They beat the Dallas Stars, another Central Division team, 7-4. And Artemi Panarin, the bread man, had 5 points, including 4 in the first, helping the Rangers defeat Dallas. Dallas now has lost 2 straight, but Artemi Panarin had a goal and 4 assists. Igor Shesterkin, who, like I mentioned in the previous pods, this guy could be an MVP candidate. Vezina, he's my pick for the Vezina right now. He made 29 saves for the Rangers. Just a great way for them to get back on track, who had lost 2 straight as well. But Adam Fox netted 1 as well. And then it was not a good start. Another team, just not a good start, but they battled back, and they just made it a lot better. Jason Robertson, talking about this kid like crazy, scored his 30th goal of the season to cut it to 4-3, but nevertheless, it just wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't enough, really. But yeah, Artemi Panarin, man, just had a heck of a game. That's all it was. But this Rangers team, playoff hunt, they're gonna be an interesting team to watch, especially at the trade deadline here. They're in on a lot of guys, and they just need some more just like pieces. Like they have great pieces. They have a great top 6, maybe even great top 9, but they need to just continue to add that depth. I think on the blue line they're good. Goaltending, they're obviously set, but it's that up front. It's that up front that really needs to help. But you can also get help defensively as well. You can never have too much depth when it comes to NHL talent. And guys who have that experience of playing in the NHL. So definitely a team to keep an eye out for. And look at that. They just beat up the Dallas Stars 7-4. So last game on the slate from Sunday. The only game we are talking about from Sunday is the Heritage Classic. The NHL Heritage Classic between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Buffalo Sabres outdoors in Hamilton, Ontario, happened on Sunday. And the Sabres defeated Toronto Maple Leafs 5-2. Peyton Krebs and Vinny Hinostroza combined for 5 points for Buffalo. Matthews got his 45th goal of the season, but Vinny Hinostroza, man, had 2 goals and an assist for Buffalo to really help seal the deal. Just Peter Mrazek was off for Toronto. That's all it was. He was really off, but usually the home teams in these outdoor games rarely win. You might see, but it's very rare. I don't know why is that, but I don't know. It's just very rare. But Peyton Krebs in that Jack Eichel deal scored twice. Tage Thompson had a goal and assist. Craig Anderson made 34 saves, winning 4 of their last 6 for Buffalo. So that's what I'm saying. Like, Buffalo, they have the pieces. They just really have to continue to add and continue to grow their pieces and continue to develop these pieces. And then they have some pieces that can be good. They really do. Like Peyton Krebs, Tage Thompson. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like Alex Tuch. Like, they have these guys. But sometimes it just doesn't click, but right now they are clicking. Like I said, Austin Matthews also got his NHL leading 45th goal in the game. The Maple Leafs have lost 4 of their last 6. It was the second – God damn, this yawning is killing me. It was the second time in 12 days that they lost to the Sabres. Austin Matthews also is now suspended for 2 games after cross-checking Rasmus Dahlin, which – I thought it was a pretty bad call. I mean, yeah, he cross-checked him in, like, the neck. But Dahlin was, like, punishing this man. And then Matthews gets up, hacks him a couple times, cross-checks him in the neck, and then Austin Matthews gets suspended. It's like Dahlin was, like, shoving this dude into the goalpost and nothing. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. I would have maybe given him 1 game, maybe given them each 1 game because they were each assessed a minor for cross-checking, but only Matthews got suspended. So kind of weird, but another outdoor game, great for the league, great for the growth of the game. I love these outdoor games, especially in like Hamilton, Toronto. These Heritage Classics are great for all the Canadian teams. And it was at Tim Hortons Field, so nothing better than that. I would have loved to be sipping some Tim Hortons at Tim Hortons Field, if you know. But that was that. So that's basically just the recap of all the games. Like I said, on Wednesday's pod, I'll talk more about more of the Sunday games. We're only going to talk about that one. But now moving to just some NHL news. We had another jersey retirement. Mikko Koivu was a captain for the Minnesota Wilds for 11 seasons. He's Minnesota's all-time leader in points. He had his number 9 raised to the rafters. He's the first player in Wild history to have his number retired. And so it's he earned that. Like I said, was the captain for Minnesota Wild from 2009 to 2020. All-time leader in points, assists, regular season games. He became the first Minnesota Wild to play for 1,000 regular season games for them on December 1st, 2019. And, you know, like I said, just well-earned. There were some former teammates in the audience, and just everybody was there to take a part of it. But like I said, I grew up watching Mikko Koivu. He had a fantastic career. Really just not a whole lot. He wasn't going to, like, wow you. He wasn't, like, you know, a top 5 player in the league. But consistent, great number 1 center for the Wild for years and just years and years. And you knew going into every year, Mikko Koivu was the number 1 guy. Like, that's just how it was. Even towards the late of his career, like, he was still the guy. So props to him on an amazing career. Super well earned, getting his name to the number to the rafters. That's what I'm just noticing with all these guys getting their jersey retired recently. It's just like, I'm not sitting there going, nah, I don't know if they could have retired that. And everybody's like, yes, 100% well earned. So another thing that was well earned in the last little news I'm going to touch on. Joe Pavelski signs a 1-year, $5.5 million extension with the Dallas Stars. He was supposed to be a UFA at the end of the season, but now will be staying in Dallas after leading them in scoring this year. Yeah, he just really loves playing in Dallas. He has 60 points this year in 57 games. He is ever since he went to Dallas 3 years ago, he has fallen in love with Dallas, and Dallas has fallen in love with him. When I'm in school at Oklahoma, lots of Dallas Stars fans around, and they love Joe Pavelski. And how could you not? I mean, the American-born player is just an absolute beast. Amazing hands around the net. Great just leader in that locker room. Always a hardworking guy. He just has great hockey sense. He's just a great hockey player, all in all. So I'm happy to see him get that 1-year extension. Like I said, well earned. I know Dallas fans, I talked to a couple of my friends down in Dallas after the signing, and they loved it. They're happy to see him back. And yeah, that's basically all I have on that. So right before I wrap up the show, the trade deadline is coming up. And I just kind of want to give a quick snippet on 3 teams. I actually got 4, but 3 teams I really think you need to keep an eye on. First one, Chicago. Obviously, they have said they're in a rebuild. I really don't think Kane or Taves or Seth Jones are on the move. Neither is DeBrincat. But, Calvin DeHaan, Eric Gustafsson. Is Dylan Strome getting moved? He's been playing great. Is Brandon Hagel getting moved? He's been playing amazing. Obviously, I would like to keep Strome and Hagel, but a team to keep an eye on because they might be fire sailing. They obviously have Marc-Andre Fleury as well. Got to keep an eye on that. So that's one team to keep an eye on. The next team is Philly. Philadelphia Flyers have been kind of awful this year. And the big news surrounding is Captain Claude Giroux. Are they going to trade Claude Giroux to a winning team in hopes of him getting a Stanley Cup? I think they will. He's going to hit his 1,000th game this week. They'll honor him, and I think as soon as they honor him, he's out the door. And that leads me to my third team to keep an eye on because they are in the running for Claude Giroux, and that is the Colorado Avalanche. Now, number one team, they are in on everybody. They're even in on Patrick Kane, and Patrick Kane's not even really available, but they're in on him. Colorado and the Rangers are the only 2 teams I've consistently heard in on big-name guys as the trade deadline gets closer and closer and closer. Claude Giroux to Colorado, JT Miller to the Rangers. So, Colorado and the Rangers, I paired up in number 3. And that's why I said there's 4. Those 2 teams are going to make big splashes by next week. So, definitely keep an eye on them. Those 3 teams in general. If you want more information on them, I will be talking about it as we get closer to the trade deadline. I'm going to have a whole trade deadline section. And just an episode or 2. Probably not Wednesdays, but probably next Sunday or after that. But for now, keep an eye on these teams. Obviously, keep checking Twitter and everything like that for any deals or anything because it's all about to go down real soon. I would say probably if not this week, it's probably going to start next week. So just kind of keep an eye on everything like that. But that's it. That's all I got for the show today. Not very long. Kind of just flying through everything. Like I said, I am on spring break. Love getting these out to you guys, just even if it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Happy to get these out to you guys to listen to. So Wednesday's show might happen Wednesday, might happen Thursday, might happen Friday. I don't know. Might not even happen at all. Just keep an eye out for it. I will be in Miami. So if anything, the episode's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to have my boys there. We're going to talk some hockey. Maybe not a lot of game recaps, just more kind of debating. But nevertheless, should be super interesting if it comes out even. So I apologize in advance if it doesn't. You will get one then that next Sunday. But for now, I would keep an eye out for it because it should be super funny and super good. So yeah, that's that. That's it for the show. I'll be posting everything now. So thank you to everybody who tuned in to listen. Like I said, just keep up with the NHL news. There's a lot going on. Lots of potential records, trades, news, everything like that. So just keep updated with that. I will try to talk about as much as I can, obviously. But that is that for me. Thank you for listening in, and I will talk to you all either Wednesday or next Sunday. We will see. Peace, everybody.